Hi everybody, and thanks for joining us for our last episode of Up in the Air. I'm Lydia Knox, and here with me at the desk is Christy Stewart.
Thanks, Lydia. We have a very busy show for you today. We have stories on Florida wildfires, the Sahara Desert, and new cloud types.
All sounds great, and as always, we'll take a stop by the climate wall later on with Quinn, as he has details on the weather and what to expect for the upcoming week.
We'll have all that and more, but first, here's Update in the Air.
After 3 decades of having not classified a new cloud, the World's Cloud Authority named about a dozen new types. The Asperitas cloud is among the stars of the World Meteorological Organization's, or the WMO's, published International Cloud Atlas. A new version of the atlas, last published in 1987, was unveiled on World Meteorological Day. The book classifies and defines clouds and was first published in 1896. According to the WMO, it is the single most authoritative and comprehensive reference for identifying clouds. The atlas information is used by 191 countries. Among the new clouds were 5 supplementary features, which included Asperitas and 5 special clouds. The online version of the atlas is a step into the 21st century for the WMO. The last edition, which was a companion version to the 1975 edition, had only been available in a printed form. The atlas organizes clouds by genre, which is based on location and appearance, and are further split into species, which relates to shape and structure, and then varieties, referring to a cloud's transparency and arrangement.
It's pesky pothole season again. Have you noticed a bunch of new potholes popping up? I've noticed a few on my commute. Potholes form after snow or rain seeps into the soil below the road surface. When temperatures drop, moisture freezes, the ground expands, and the pavement gets pushed up. When temperatures rise again, the ground returns to its normal state, but the pavement remains raised, creating a gap between the pavement and the ground. As vehicles drive over these unstable areas, the road caves into those hollow spaces. When hit, some of these holes can cause severe damage to your car. To minimize potential damages, it's best to keep your tires inflated to the recommended pressure. Make sure your suspension is in good condition. Watch out for puddles that could conceal a deep pothole, and keep a safe following distance behind other vehicles. If you must hit a pothole, keep a firm grip on the wheel and slow down. But do not brake while driving over the pothole. And most importantly, know the signs of trouble after hitting one, such as unusual vibrations and noises, your car pulling to the left or right, or uneven tire wear. If you encounter a pothole, you should report it to your local municipality or state DOT.
Today, the Sahara Desert is defined by rolling sand dunes, unforgiving sun, and oppressive heat. But just 10,000 years ago, it was lush and flourishing. So, what spurred the shift from woodland to wasteland? A new study suggests humans played a crucial role. An environmental archaeologist at a national university says that as humans spread west from the Nile River 8,000 years ago, they brought with them sheep, cows, and goats that gobbled up, mowed down, and trampled over native vegetation. This transformed the landscape and altered the local climate. Herds of goat and other beasts exposed ground that was previously hidden beneath vegetation, with consequences for the local climate. You may have learned in school that brighter colors reflect more light, which is why it's more comfortable to wear a white shirt than a black shirt on a hot, sunny day. The Earth's surface works the same way. Tan-colored dirt and sand reflect more sunlight than grass and brush. As the sunlight is reflected, the light goes back into the atmosphere and heats up. Archaeologists say that overgrazing led to drought. The drought stunted the growth vegetation, which further transformed the landscape and worsened the ultimate drought. Eventually, this feedback loop produced a hot, dry, dusty desert roughly the size of the United States.
Florida is up in flames. Over 100 wildfires are burning across 20,000 acres, their worst wildfire season since 2011. Wildfires are not unusual in Florida this time of year because it's their typical dry season when rain is less frequent and the air is less humid. But with 34% of Florida in a severe drought and many other areas approaching drought-like conditions, which Quinn will have more details on later when we stop by the climate wall, no area in the state is safe from a wildfire risk. Florida's governor has declared a state of emergency. This wildfire outbreak began back in February and blazes are still burning strong. Many wild animals have been displaced into residential communities and 27 homes have been engulfed in the flames so far. Residents and tourists have been warned areas near wildfires may experience road closures and reduced visibility near zero in some cases. The worst conditions occur overnight and early morning as the smoke settles around ongoing blazes. Firefighters are having trouble battling the flames against persistent dry conditions.
On a wet and dreary day, do you ever find yourself listening to slower and maybe even moodier music? New research done by Spotify and AccuWeather may have the reason why. A Spotify data researcher said in a press release that their team found a clear connection between weather conditions and what users choose to listen to, specifically with up-tempo, loud, and happier-sounding songs correlating to sunnier days. They found in almost all major cities around the world that they studied, sunny days translate to higher streams of happier-sounding music. In Europe, sunny weather has an even bigger impact. The findings found lower energy tunes that are more acoustic than electronic are played more often on rainy days. Some of the city-specific findings seem to make sense based on the climate. For instance, New York City and Philadelphia listeners were most musically affected by the rain, but in Miami and Seattle, coastal towns with drastically different climates, cloudy weather brought on more energetic music rather than less. Now, instead of organizing music based on genres, maybe weather conditions are a better option.
A Rhode Island-sized iceberg is just a mere 12 miles from breaking away from Antarctica's Larsen C ice shelf. Now, I know you're probably thinking, 12 miles? That's a thick amount of ice still attached to the shelf. That'll take a while to break off. Well, to better put this into perspective, in August 2016, NASA satellites noticed a rift across the ice shelf had grown longer and deeper over the winter. In November, the crack was 70 miles long, 300 feet wide, and a third of a mile deep. Currently, the crack is 110 miles long. So this iceberg is breaking off quickly, and it has the potential to become one of the world's largest. However, researchers are having trouble predicting exactly when it will break off because they have little information on the nature of the ice, but they are expecting it to happen soon. Researchers on Larsen C are already taking precautions and no longer have camp set up on the ice shelf. Instead, they make frequent trips by Twin Otter aircraft to collect data. Once this iceberg separates from Larsen C could become unstable and dramatically accelerate, dumping large volumes of ice into the ocean and further contributing to sea level rise. Thanks for tuning back in.
We now have two special features on global warming and air quality.
If you thought polar bears were the only ones feeling the effects of global warming, you would be mistaken.
Agriculture is the most weather-reliant industry in the world. Any change in the weather directly affects the industry. That is why nobody, not even the polar bears, feel the effects of global warming like the farmers do.
According to the Environmental Education Foundation, or NEF for short, global warming is caused by a rise in the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere.
This rise is responsible for higher temperature levels and unpredictable weather patterns. All of these changes spark effects that cripple the agricultural industry. According to NEF, these higher temperatures and carbon dioxide levels have caused an increase in insect and weed population in fields. The weeds take nutrients and water from the soil, leaving less for the crops to feed on. The insects lay their eggs in the crops, and the hatchlings feed on the host plant. As if the weed and insect infestation was not enough, the weather is also taking a turn. According to NEF, drought and flooding are occurring more than normal. Both of these events can wipe out entire harvests when they occur.
Obviously, global warming is a huge risk to the agriculture industry, both today and for the future. Farmers across the globe need to find ways to combat the changing climate. That is why I came here to the Happy Valley Vineyard to speak with Dr. Stewart on how farmers are doing just that. Dr. Stewart explained to me that researchers across the globe are working to modify crops to withstand some of these climate changes. So while the future of agriculture may seem gloom, hope is growing. For Up in the Air, I'm William Mudock.
Many people are concerned about air quality when they step outside. However, according to the EPA, indoor levels of pollutants can be up to 5 times higher than the levels found outdoors.
Vapors that can accumulate inside buildings and can be, some of them, harmful to your health. There's also concern with indoor aerosols or indoor particles, which can contain chemicals, either natural or synthetic, that can also be inhaled and accumulate certain chemicals in your body that can lead to chronic health conditions.
While many people do not think about indoor air quality, there is one place where it can be a major concern. With children spending much of their weekday in a school building, indoor air quality in schools is a huge issue. The average year of construction for schools in the U.S. is 1959. Old infrastructure can cause problems with the air quality of the buildings.
The lack of exact humidity control. Usually these schools, don't choose very sophisticated HVAC systems because of cost. So what can happen in the HVAC system in some of the walls of the building is molds can build up.
Many school districts with low funding may see improving indoor air quality as an expense they just can't afford. There are more cost-effective ways to ensure the air quality is safe for children.
You could set up electrostatic filtration techniques within the ventilation system of the school, get a good humidity control system, control the humidity levels very closely, and the moisture content and the materials in the building, and that will definitely control some of the natural contaminants that tend to build up.
With 1 in 13 school children afflicted by asthma, indoor air quality in schools needs to be a major concern of both the state and federal government. For Up in the Air, I'm Chris Landolfi.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Christy, how do you feel with the fact it's our very last episode of Up in the Air for this semester?
I can't believe that our year here at Up in the Air has already come to an end. I've learned so much here, and I'm very excited for what's to come in the future. How have you felt about this season?
No, I felt absolutely the same way. I know I love working with everyone, getting to hear all the stories every week. It's been a pleasure. So Quinn, how do you feel, especially with graduation approaching so soon?
It's bittersweet. We've been here for about a year now, and I don't know if you folks at home will ever see us on TV, but one of us might be on your local station, in a few years. So you guys will just have to keep tuning in to your stations. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to believe, but
absolutely. Yeah. No. What can you tell us about these upcoming weather patterns for the few weeks?
Yeah. We've had some really nice weather the past few weeks as spring has just started here within the past month, and we're going to start with the zonal flow really for the next few days, and that's going to prompt some nice temperatures. But for the weekend, we're going to see this trough that's going to be building into the region, and especially for State College here, we're going to see some rainy conditions that are possible and, cooler temperatures, not those really 70s and 80s that we saw. But heading into next week, we're going to see this ridge start to push into our region by the end of next week. Then that's going to usher in some warmer temperatures, and you can really see that here on our temperature outlook for the next 10 days. Above normal temperatures, I wouldn't say it's going to be extremely hot, one way or the other, but it's going to just be right around average or slightly above. To our friends in the Northeast, a little bit below average, and to our friends on the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, some below average temperatures as well. And going along with that, we're going to see some above average precipitation across much of the country. It's springtime, so we usually see more activity with storms moving in throughout the coast of the Pacific West, and we're going to continue to see that in the next few weeks. So really, we have a good chance of rain throughout much of the Commonwealth heading into the next week or so. And that's going to help us with the drought monitor. We're going to start here in California, though. You can see that the drought really has improved since I started here on Up in the Air last year. This whole state of California was covered in severe and extreme drought, and it's good to see that over the past year it's improved, and we really only have a little spot of California left in that drought that's really bad for them. But our friends in the Midwest really have seen the worst of the drought recently, moderate to even severe drought. And towards Atlanta, they've been dealing with that for much longer than for about a year or so now, so that's going to continue with those below average rainfall rates. And if we take a look at our Northeast, you can see Connecticut near Hartford, they've been dealing with that drought for the past year. And this pesky little drought here right to the south of State College, they've seen, just that area that hasn't really received much rainfall. And hopefully that's going to change with that precipitation moving in for the next week or so. And zooming that in, you can just see here, Harrisburg is the region that has been seeing the main drought. If we take a look at our weekend weather here for you guys, it's going to look a little bit dismal out there. I have a temperature range about upper 50s to low 60s. Hopefully it's going to be just showers in the afternoon for your Saturday. So if you have tailgate plans, maybe you're able to enjoy that early on Saturday for kickoff. And those showers will continue throughout Sunday with rain likely. You know, it's kind of just cool and damp for the next few days. And that's all I have for you guys at the desk. Thank you for everyone who's watched us for the past year. And yeah, that's all I have, guys.
Thanks for that, Quinn.
That's all we have for this week's episode. I'm Lydia Knox.
And I'm Christy Stewart. We hope you've enjoyed us this past semester, and Kellyanne and Noah will be back next semester with more.